Okay, good evening, everybody. So yes, unfortunately, we cannot be live together and do this in a conference. But yes, with this particular times and a special period, we are already happy that yeah, we can join each other in a moment of learning. So that's what I will try to do this evening. So like you can see on my first slide, it will be about the coaching switch. This is how we call it in Belgium. And thank you for the introduction. When you will receive the slides, you will see, you can go through it and you will see, yes, my different identities, my different hats that I wear in the National Association, but also in UEFA. And yeah, this is my experience that I really want to share with you. I'm so happy to be in a new environment because I'm coming from football. So your sport, it's different, but it's also similar. So I'm really happy to share with you some topics that we have been applying during the last 20 years, and also see some results, some effects of working in this way. So I would say my first point for you is just challenging you. So this is my daily reality. So we call it also, I'm part of Belgium Football DNA, and this is my my work environment. So that was like you can see, a big emotion when we were at the World Cup in Russia. So this is my starting point for you. So when you start thinking about Belgian football DNA, and yeah, people ask me what are the ingredients and what are the characteristics. So I just took one example. You all know Kevin De Bruyne. Even if you're not a big football fan, I'm sure that you have heard about this as you live in the UK. So my question to you is, if we want to develop players like Kevin, what do we have to focus on? And Kevin is just one example. Just watch the videos and try to find out, and maybe you can write it in the chat already, what are the ingredients, at your opinion, of Belgian football?
Januzaj does go for goal and finds it superbly. Adnan Januzaj.
Sorry, yes.
Mariah, that's a poor touch from Malul, and Mertens pounced and Lukaku's ahead of him. It is Romelu Lukaku! It's two! He has fizzed that in, right on top of his game, Romelu Lukaku!
And the last one?
Here's Lukaku now, like a tank. He's done well. De Bruyne, 2-0! What is going on here?
So, what are your ideas about what do you need to work on if you want to develop players like that? And like you can see here, in education in football or development in football, and it's like that in all the sports, it's a very complex situation, but especially in football, because we want to have an impact on the player, but the player is part of the team, which gives you much more complexity. And the team, they have to play a game, and the game is random, because you play against an opponent, you never know exactly what they are going to do. And then you are there as a coach, and you want to have all these things under control. It's quite an impossible target. It's mission almost impossible to have all these things under control. So what we have been doing in ORFA 20 years ago, in the year 2000, was starting to think about how can we create a coach education philosophy to help these coaches to have an impact on the player? And what do we have to focus on? Because that was my starting question. What are the ingredients? And in some minutes, we will maybe just check the chat, and maybe Owen can do it already, what you have been writing about it. Do we have to focus on the team? Do we have to focus on the player? Or do we have to focus on every single game we have to play? So these were questions that we have been asking 20 years ago. And the answer was, how can we build? We want to build a coach education philosophy. And this philosophy will be like the coach of the coaches to help them to tackle this problem situation. Yes. So how did we do this? We created that coach education philosophy and that playing philosophy linked with the playing philosophy of our national youth teams. And our national youth teams, they had they were like a role model to show to all the Belgian coaches, this is the best possible way for development of your players. I really say for development of the players. I don't say this is the best way to have success on the short term, because this is completely different. So how did we start that story? It's 20 years ago, and like you see, this is Belgium. It's really a very, very small country, and like you see, I compare it with Spain, and Spain has 50 million inhabitants. We have 11 million and a half. Yeah, it's when you compare it to Madrid, the city of Madrid has more than 50% of the inhabitants of Belgium. So this was my former technical director who started that whole vision, and who said we want to create a manual for the development of players of Belgian football. And that manual, and still today, and more than 20 years later, that manual is still there and is considered as the one and only North Star. Does that mean that nothing has changed? No, the big principles are still the same. What has changed is the content, the technical, tactical content, because the game has changed. So we also have to work on the new skills and different approach of the game. But the principles of learning, the principle of coaching, the principle of development, how to create the best possible learning environment, they are still the same. And this was a very important switch that we had to work on with those players, with those coaches, switching from winning the game into development of all the players. And that means that we asked our coach to try to change their mindset and not to focus anymore on their team and the performance, but to start focusing on every single player and the development of every individual player. And this coaching switch, it was very hard to get all the coaches on board, to get people on board, but that process of onboarding, we started 20 years ago, and we needed 3, 4, 5 years to really have everybody on board and to create that coach education and that coaching philosophy that we really wanted to create. So my advantage, and like you heard in the introduction, I don't come from professional football. I'm coming from education. So for me, football education, it's like every coach should be like a teacher, but I have to give some small nuances. Every coach should be like a good teacher. And you will see, you will discover in a minute what I mean by this, because it's about how can we create the best possible learning environment for every single individual. Yeah. So we started thinking about how we can make better players, and we had 3 main targets. We created a playing system 4-3-3 for the whole nation, and it's still the case. This is the reference formation. If we want to play in a 4-3-3 formation, what profile of players do we need? So we have to make that these 2 things that they match. And very important thing, we want to focus on creativity. So this is how we created that Belgian Football DNA and that's really the only way and the best way to tell who you are. And of course, in my job, coach education, and like what we are doing today, this webinar is really key for development of your sport, of the game. It's key for the development of the coaches. And one of the things I want to make you think about is we talk a lot about creativity, but and it's also my responsibility. We as adults, we are responsible for killing creativity. And I always use this cartoon to say, look, Hobbes, I got a paint by numbers kit. It's really, really fun. And you know this paint by numbers kit. And he said, yes, but Hobbes says, you're not painting in the lines and you're not using the right colors, the colors that correspond to the numbers. And the small boy says, yes, but if I did that, I would get the picture that they show on the box. And I don't want to get that picture. I want to be creative and make my own picture. So let's really think about that, about our role as a coach and how we can deal with that lack of creativity, or how we can really develop that creativity. So just to be complete, and I go quickly through this, but I wanted to make that point about who are we, who we are, and how we want to play. We created a real consistent story about coaching, values, behavior, and the game. This consistent story is really very, very important because we've written down black on white on paper, this is the way we want to behave, these are our values, this is the way we will coach our players. And we also created what we call that Belgian style of play. And from the youth teams, from the lowest age group till the senior team, the only thing that changes is the size of the shirt. But all the other principles, we play the same way. It's creating that consistency along the journey that is really important for development of players. So, like I said, what was the effect of starting that philosophy in the year 2000? Like you can see, we've been quite fortunate, lucky to be in a positive flow. But like you can see, and this is also very important, it doesn't go quickly. Development is a slow process with ups and downs. So we really need to take that time. So just to come back about our roles as coach educators or as coaches is to give players, children, roots to grow and wings to fly. And when you watch this picture, when you're a child or when you're a player, where do you want to be? On the left side, coach-centered environment, or in a player-centered environment. And I think it's quite clear that we want to be on that right side with freedom, with access to creativity. So we created that vision of development that was based upon 3 pillars, like you can see here. Fun. Formation means learning. There must be a learning plan and developing the right attitude. And to cross that bridge from a youth player to an adult player, we have a long bridge with 4 layers. And the first one is technical, it's zonal football. More important for you is a program, a learning plan that makes for every age group, for every ability level. We have to know as a coach what's the best thing to do. And then number 3 is about the methodology. It's a game-based methodology. But then number 4, and I think this is really crucial, the main actor in the whole process is the player. It isn't the coach. It isn't the team. It's the individual player. And that is really important. And this is for me the question I always ask before I go to a session, before I go to a presentation. Who is in front of me? Who will be there? And what are they able to do? And what are they able to learn? And it's up to me as a coach, as a speaker, as a presenter, to adapt to my audience. Because if I don't adapt to them, my action, my teaching, my presentation will have no impact and will be quite, like a loss of time. So we really have to think, imagine you're a 6-year-old child. Will this be the best way to teach your child to ride a bicycle? No, it isn't. This will not give them wings to fly. Yeah, this will create stress. So what we decided to do is build really a tailor-made project, a tailor-made pathway, a tailor-made coaching pathway adapted to all the children. And this is the pathway, but I will go very quickly through it. You will have the time to read it on your own. So this is how players develop in Belgium. So when they start playing in under 6, they play in a 2v2. So they play 1v1 with the goalkeeper. Then they go to 3v3 where we develop the triangle. But like you can see again, it's all about duels. It's all about the individual, mastering the 1v1 situation. Yeah, it's me, the ball, and my teammate. Yeah, and then we move to the single diamond, and again you see 4 duels into that single diamond. And the next step is more complexity. It's a double diamond. But you see, they have been playing for 2 years and 1 diamond. Next, they go play in a double diamond, which gives you bigger space, more complexity. Yeah, and only then from the double diamond we move into a big pitch, and that's only at under 40. And where from that double diamond we create that 11v11, where we have 2 new players, offensive midfielder, and where we clone the central defender because we need 2 of them to manage that big space in the defense line. So I repeat, we start from the individual. This is, okay, me and the ball. There's a 1v1 with the goalkeeper. What you learn in that 2v2, you can apply in the 3v3, because there you go to just 2 duels with the goalkeeper. And all the things you learn in 2v2, you can do in 3v3. Everything you learn in 3v3, you can apply in 5v5. What you apply in 1 diamond, you can do in double diamond. So this is the way how we work on that cumulation of learning. So just to give you an idea, this is how we move from me and the ball into the collective game of 11v11. And it's maybe a detail, but just check the idea about starting the game and starting developing players, or the first experience of a young player in Belgium is playing next to each other, because it's all about developing their ability or skills with running with the ball, dealing with the ball, shooting to the goal, and dribbling, but dribbling without an opponent. The next step is playing against each other. So it's all starting from the individual and then developing step by step, getting into more opponent, more opposition, and more complexity. And only in under 7, it's playing with each other. And this is also linked with the psychology of a child. When they are 5, 6 years old, they don't want to pass the ball to another player. They want to keep the ball, dribble, and score a goal because they are egocentric. So step by step, we learn then also to play with each other and starting using the pass. So I spoke already about creating an ideal learning environment. So that's how we did it for the youngsters. Ban competition, very important. Keep the parents involved, because these are their diamonds. Their children are their diamonds. So we have to involve them. They want to be involved. Let the children play, because that's why they come. And create a very flexible format that's adapted to 5, 6 years old, because this will give them maximum development opportunities. And this is how it looks like on a pitch. So on half a pitch, you can play, you can make 4 mini pitches here and 4 on the other side. That means very easy to involve a lot of players in what we call a football festival. Yeah. And like you see here at the bottom, we play only twice 3 minutes. And after having played 6 minutes, they go from pitch 1 to pitch 2, and they play against another duel. Yeah. So the big advantage of this is that they always there are only winners. So if they don't win the first game, they have a big chance to win the second, the third, or the fourth. But because the winners, they play against each other, those who didn't win, they play against each other. So like that, you have only happy participants. And like you can see here, remember, the only thing that changes is the size of the shirt. Like here, the thing that changes is like the shirt, it's the pitch of the players. So when they are under 7, under 9, they play in this 5v5 space. Yeah. Then they go to a double diamond, and the first 2 years in the double diamond, they play on this area, and the next 2 years, they play on a bigger space. Why? Because they have more space awareness, their brain is more developed, they are able to play the same game, 8v8, on a bigger space because they are 2 years more mature. Yeah. So it's really creating the best possible game environment and the best possible learning environment. And the game in ORFA is considered as a tool and not as a goal. It's not about winning. It's about developing. It's about learning. That means, as it is not about winning, there are no tables. Till the age of under 14, we don't have tables. And we never lose, or we win, or we learn. That's the only thing. So we talked about coaching switch. The player first, the ego of the coach second. Yeah. Or maybe forget about the ego of the coach. So I just want to share with you what we call in Belgium the coaching paradigm. You have two types of coaches, two profiles of coaches. Tell me what you see. And I'm sure some people will see different things. Yeah, I see that somebody raised the hand. So do you want to make an intervention now, or can I just go on?
No, so they can just watch you, Kris, but we're getting rabbit, we're getting duck and rabbit, we're getting hare.
Yeah, that's
so,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's it. So is it about right or wrong? No. It's about the way you watch the reality, the way you interpret the reality. And that's what we call a paradigm. So there are two ways of looking at the reality. So what we see with coaches is that some of the coaches, they watch the game, and they watch the game from the team paradigm. For them, they see, for example, I'm an under 15 coach, I'm watching the under 15 team. Some other coaches who are also coaching the under 15 team, they don't watch with the team paradigm, they watch with the player paradigm. So they watch the same game, but they don't watch the team. They watch the single individual players playing in that under 15 team. What's the difference of that team-centered approach and the player-centered approach? When you're a coach with a team-centered approach, you will focus on the creation of a strong team, and you will be worried about having a performance, having a good result with that team, because you are the coach of that team. You're proud of that coach. You're proud of that team. You're proud of that performance. So you really want to focus on that performance. When you're a player-centered approach, you say, I want to make that at the end of the season, every single player has made a huge progress. And you will focus not only on the strong ones, but only on the weaker ones. The team-centered coach, however, will be focusing on the result of the team. So that means he will have, like, his culture will be the survival of the fittest. The best players, I'm interested in. The other ones, I'm less interested because they have less impact on the game result. And that's what I'm focusing on. With my team paradigm, I want to perform today. Yeah, that means that there will be a very coach-centered approach with a big hierarchical system. Yeah, like a top-down leadership system. Yeah, the coach will give a lot of instruction because he's the boss. Yeah, he wants to be, he's responsible for his team. And I always compare it with the bus driver. And he drives the bus and he will bring us to success and to win the game to performances. Yeah, a player paradigm is just the opposite. The main focus is the player, the individual player, and the learning experience of every player. Yeah, so this coach will focus on the support that he will give to every single player, not only to the best one, but also to the less skilled one. Yeah, and here we see the coach as a mentor and as a helping hand. So that's really very important that you as a coach, that you are aware about your role. Is my role to be a team-centered, to have a team-centered approach, or do I prefer looking and watching the game from another perspective, from another paradigm, which is the player-centered approach? In ORFA, we focus on the second one. Yeah, we want to challenge our youth coaches to avoid match coaching with a focus on winning. We really want to make them focusing on learning, giving the players the chance to make mistakes, because making mistakes means that you are learning. Yeah, it's the normal way into progress and into development. Yeah, so it's very easy to say every single player is the most important one. It's hard to do, because watch this picture, you say this is not about football. No, it is, but it isn't. Yeah. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. You will see in a second, because this is the battle between early mature and very late mature players. Yeah. So if you want to create an environment that makes talent flourish, then you don't have to think about the performance of today, but you have to think about the potential. What can you learn tomorrow? And what are you willing to do for it to become the player that's in your potential? Yeah, and that's a big challenge for coaches to see the difference. It's very easy to see the performance, but it's much harder to see the potential. And this brings me to my story about the green bananas, and also what a very specific approach in ORFA. Some coaches, they only want the ripe bananas, the mature players. But what do we do with the green ones? Do we throw them away? I want to share with you this information. So this is generation of 84, 85, 86, 87. And they played the semi-final in the Olympic Games in 2008. You can see here Vincent Kompany, Fellaini, Vermaelen, Vertongen. So this is the main part of our national team. But one current Red Devil, one big star of today is missing. And this is Dries Mertens. And I want to share with you why he is missing. Because it's linked with this picture. Yeah, it's linked with the difference between performance today and potential for later. So this is the Dries Mertens, and his story has been the inspiration for Belgian FA to create future teams. And our future teams are teams with only under 15, 16, 17. We have 2 national teams in each age group. One to play the tournaments and one for future, with only late mature players. And what's his face here? What's his face? This is when he was on loan. So from the professional game, they put him on loan to the 3rd league. And he was only 18 years old then. And like you see, he still has like a baby face. And these are some video clips from that period. Like you can see, he's very technical, but if there is a lot of wind, they blow him away. So he's really tinny, a really small boy, very, very dynamic, very technical skills, a lot of technical skills, but not ready for the professional game at the age of 18 years old. And like you see, boom, he had already that fantastic. That's the same player. The same player, number 14, when he was 18, 19, 20, 21, in Belgium, they said, no. He has great skills, but impossible for professional football.
Goalkeeper, it's actually a really big wall as well. Tyron Mings is in, Eric Dyer just beats them. They don't actually jump, I'm not really too sure.
So, these are some pictures. This is when he was in Anderlecht. His shirt is too big, but the shirt was not too big for his teammates. He was too small. Yeah, this is what happens. And this is the big challenge between performance and potential. And did he have these skills to kick the ball when he was 18 years old? Yes, he had. But he wasn't considered to be strong enough for the professional game. So they chased him away from Belgium. He went to the second league in the Netherlands and he came back as a top scorer. And just watch these two pictures. And this is for me, yeah, the summary of the green banana story. So watch his face at 18 years old. And this is Romelu Lukaku at 16 years old, who made his debut in the first league with Anderlecht as a striker at 16 years old. Yeah, because he was a giant when he was 16 years old. He was still like, yeah, you see it also, he still has the baby face at 18 years old. So you really have to watch every single individual player to check who is he, what about his maturity, what about his development, how can we create the best possible environment that fits this individual player. And also Yannick Carrasco, he's also he's a world-class player today, playing in Atletico Madrid, playing in the senior national team. He always played in our futures team because he was a late mature player. He was not strong enough to perform for qualification in the European tournament, but we really gave him the time to develop till the moment that he was getting ready. And I come back about, what are we going to do with the green bananas? Are we going to throw them away? But if we throw them away, if Belgium had done, if we had that bad reaction, we never had played the semi-final, or we never were playing for the bronze medal against England. Because watch, 5 of the starting players, 5 of these players, they are coming from these late mature players. So this is just, sorry, 1 minute clip for you. Just watch this video clip and try to find out what's the link with coaches. And I say football coaches, but also with you who are in front of me. Yeah, what is the lesson for you coming from this video clip? And again, there will be a link with what's the topic form of my presentation. Yeah, player first, ego of the coach second. Just a moment.
But one of the things that we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection, relationships. James Comer had a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says all learning is understanding relationships. Everyone in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I have watched people teach. I have looked at the best and I've looked at some of the worst. A colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed. Well, I said to her, you know, kids don't learn from people they don't like. She said, that's just a bunch of hooey. And I said to her, well, your year is going to be long and...
Yes. So, what can we learn from the video? Just maybe write it quickly in the chat, and we can come back on this after my presentation. So really think about it. What can we learn from the video?
But we see all these things coming in, Chris. We have role models, empathy.
Yes, give me an idea.
Yeah. So value of the relationship.
Yeah.
Empathy with players, learn about your players, fun, empathy connections, building relationships with your players.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's why I was going to this, because the next step, the consequence of this will be that you start installing trust. Trust, really very, very important. And trust is based on relationships. And yeah, and it's just a challenge for all of you. And consider how hard it is to change ourselves or yourself. And then you'll understand what little chance you have in trying to change others. If you want to paint everybody in red, because this is what you like, the red colors, forget it. It doesn't work. We have to respect how they are. We have to understand them. And that is crucial. And that power of connection, that's just the opposite of ego. Yeah. The more competence, the less ego. Because these coaches with less ego, they understand that you don't need an ego to be successful. Yeah. And it's always looking about, and I compare it with flowers, and flowers in the, can they grow in the desert? Yes, they can, if somebody takes care of them. Yeah. It's creating the right environment to give them roots to fly, to grow, and wings to fly. Yeah. And it's our role as a coach to go and look for the key to open the door to every single player. And you see a lot of keys, because we have different players, we have different keys. And sometimes for one player, you try one key and it doesn't work. Then it's up to you to look for another key, and maybe a third and a fourth one, because they are all different. And you cannot have your idea about, oh, I want to clone them, I want to make them like me, because then it's easy. It's easy, yeah, but it's boring because they're all the same. Yeah, it's just a big challenge, and it just, yeah, the source of success is being different and working together as a unit in a team. So what is our role as a coach? And I always compare it with cooking. It's like, yeah, you have to add something. You have to add a secret ingredient. And that secret ingredient that you can add as a coach, it's very easy. It's how can I find individual connection with the players? And they are all different. So it's a big task for you, a big challenge for you as a coach to find that connections. But if you add something, and if you can get into connection with the individual players, there is a multiplication effect. And that makes your team so much stronger. Yeah, because you're really performing as a team where every player is giving the best of himself to get the performance together. And like you see here in the picture, my colleague, yeah, he really knows that they are the norm, and he has to adapt himself to be able to communicate with them and to get into connection with them. It's all about the players. It's not about us, the coaches. It's all about the players. And to understand the real needs of children, of the real needs of your players, you must be able to adapt your eyes. And you must be able to watch the reality through the lens of your players. Yeah. And too many coaches that think that at football it's about X and O's and it's about tactics. And no, that's not the main business. The main business, it's relationship. Sport, football, coaching, it's a relationship business. Yeah. And this is a very nice picture that shows us that we don't have to compare us with somebody else. Everybody has his own ladder of potential. And success doesn't mean winning the championship. Success means getting to the top of your own ladder and not focusing on the ladder of others. Yeah, that's really an important. message. And I want to almost finish with a very short video clip really coming. I mean, you can watch the real clip, the whole clip later, but this is coming from my experience with the national team in December. And really, this sentence here, all players are human beings. They are no performance tools. So as a coach, don't consider your players as tools for performance. Your players are human beings. And I want to share with you this video from behind the scenes of our national team. The 1st of December, we played the last game of the qualifying round, a home game against Switzerland. Yeah, very easy. 2 teams on top of the table. The winner takes it all. The winner is qualified for the European Championship in England next year. The team that doesn't win will have to fight for a qualification in the playoffs in February. So just watch this 4 short sequences and try to find out why I show you this video. There we go.
Oké, dames, Zwitserland vandaag. Eerst en vooral, proficiat met de week qua arbeid, qua intensiteit, gelijk de manier dat we gevraagd hebben om de wedstrijd voor te bereiden. Geniet ervan, ga ervoor, dames, lekker als ik dat nog eens herhalen. Pak dat vertrouwen mee en als team. Iedereen die er binnen zit, en dan gaan we pakken. Oké, succes.
Second part, so just before the game.
Oké, dames, luister even mee gewoon. Bas stemt ons geweldig positief. Het plan dat we hebben, hoe dat je dat gedaan hebt. Nu, dat is like dat vertrouwen, neem dat mee naar buiten. Neem dat mee naar buiten, stuur elkaar, like als je de training de laatste dag hebt gedaan. Oké, dames? Succes. Kom!
Met vertrouwen hebben, hè. Kom op. Met vertrouwen, hè. Gewoon, hè.
Number 3, halftime, at halftime.
Oké, dames, luister even mee. Eerst en vooral proficiat, wat dat hier getoond hebt in de eerste helft. Ik wil niemand, ook niet, een ontgoocheld gezicht zien tonen de tweede helft. Als je eens een slechte pas geeft, of als er eens ik weet niet wat is. Niet, hè. Niet. Dat is ook volwassen, hè. Ja? Kom op, hè. Allemaal samen er tegenaan. Kom,
Ik ga erin. Kom op, hè. Ja, de eerste kwartier is belangrijk, hè. Ja, zoals zeggen. Ja. De eerste kwartier komt, hè. Daar gaan we spelen. Ja, maar de eerste kwartier komt.
And then the last one.
Maar als voetballer, hè.
Dat is lang geleden dat ik niet echt weet wat ik direct moet zeggen. dat we volwassen konden spelen. Maar ik heb het nog een stap beter gedaan dan dat ik het verwacht had. Dus ik kan maar één ding zeggen. 100% verdiende kwalificatie voor het EK.
So, yes. So 4 sequences of a 6 minutes video. I will share the video with you tomorrow. You can watch it on your own. But this is really crucial example to show to coaches, to show to players that players, first of all, must be considered as human beings. Yeah. So what do you think why I showed you this video? Maybe just also write it in the chat and we can come back about it in a minute. Yeah. Okay. So to finish, and this is the link what I make with your sport. Yeah, the complexity of our sport, the complexity of invasion games, it's linked with decision making. And this is the process that's happening all the time. Players should scan the environment, scan the context, what's happening around me, the opponent, my teammates, the space, where is the ball, where is the... Imagine they decide to make a dribble. Immediately after that, they will go to the assessment of the action to check, was it the right action? And then again, it starts a new cycle. That's going very quickly. Yeah. So this makes it really, really very complex. That process of and cycles of scanning, decision-making, execution. All the time, there is action and interaction with the context to find the best possible action. And this is what we call in Belgium, we have to create our game model, that the players know exactly, that it's clear what they have to do. Because as a coach, often you ask them, and do you understand? And they all say, yes, coach, yes. Yeah. But do they really understand? Because this is a problem. If this happens on the pitch, yeah, then there is a problem, because some players say there are 4 blocks and some other players say, no, there are 3. So when this is not very clear, yeah, there is a problem, because the decisions of the team will never be the right decisions. Yeah, and that's the complexity of invasions games, that you have to learn the game and by playing the game together. And this is like you can see in this cartoon. If these 2 dogs, if they don't decide to work together, if they do it in their own way, he's going to the left, he's going to the right, they will never get the food. If they start thinking together and making the same decisions together, they first go to the left and then they go to the right. So it's all about cooperation. Yeah? And this is what happens in the pitch, on the pitch. These players, their brains, their decisions should be in connection with each other. And the closer they are to each other, the more they should be connected. Yeah. And this is why we have created in our approach game principles for the team, game principles for players, for a group of players, and then individual principles. And this gives you clarity, and this helps you as a coach to create some order in the chaotic game, to have these different levels of principles. Just to give you that idea, just like in your sport, offensive principles, in transition, defensive, and the defensive transition. So just to show you on that picture, these players who are close to each other, they must be in connection with each other. To take the individual decisions must be 100% clear for each other. The number 7 has to know what number 9 and 8, his neighbors, what they will do. Yeah. Same thing for other connections. And you can find these connections everywhere on the pitch. Yeah. And to finish, I want to make you some challenges about efficiency. And here again, I come back about teaching. Coaches who teach, and this is a great cartoon to show you that image. So a friend of mine tells me, I taught Stripe, his dog, how to whistle. And this is me in green, and I say, I don't hear him whistling. And my friend says, yes, I said I taught him. I didn't say that he learned it. So we as a coach, if we want to teach one topic after another, do we really care about what they have learned? Or should we really start from the individual and really start asking about what is the best starting point? What does effective coaching mean for you? Yeah. How can you as a coach help this process? Yeah, and that's my last challenge for you. Think about 3 important skills of a coach to facilitate that process of effectiveness, yeah, or effective coaching. Yeah. So this is something you really have to keep in mind. If you're, as a coach, if you're talking, your players, they forget. If you're just focusing on teaching, you have a chance that they may remember. But if you involve them, then they will learn. So your role as a coach is to be the architect of the best possible environment. And in that environment, feedback is a magic tool. Just think about this as a coach. Try to think about, can I see the reality, the game, the training through the lens of my players? As a coach, you need to see learning through the eyes of the players. And then step by step, players can see themselves as their own coach. Yeah. And evidence shows us that the greatest effects on student learning come when not only the students become their own teachers through self-monitoring and self-assessment, but when the teachers become learners of their own teaching. And that's so important, that you as a coach, that you try to start learning about the way you're teaching, that you start to ask questions and you ask feedback about your session. Yeah. And this is, for me, the last slide. We have a very good example in our staff. It's really the role model for everybody around our national teams and for the whole country. Roberto Martinez, he's the best example of great coaching. And great coaching, for us, it's all about being person-centered, empowering, organized, of course, positive. It's all about learning and engaging. That means, in one word, it's about people. So thank you for listening, and probably there will be some questions.
Just a few, Kris. I know Ger's gonna come on and start with the first question.
Thanks very much, Kris. That was really fascinating listening to you and seeing this philosophy for how you developed a game in Belgium and in your context. This coaching switch that you talk about, that you implemented, it was quite revolutionary when you think about maybe what went before. And so from that point of view, it's been a real eye-opener. I think we could take a lot of messages and learn from those examples that you gave us. I really liked the talk that, or the part that you also talked about the performance and the potential, and how about the iceberg. We only looking at the tip of the iceberg as opposed to the bottom of it, which is under the water, which we can't see. And I suppose it's us being coaches nurturing that potential is really what we need to be focusing on. If we're that focused, then the winning part is sort of further down the line. So thanks very much for those great insights. There's lots of questions, so I might just maybe grab one here, and this is from Benny Hurl. He says, your presentation was excellent and thank you for sharing your experience. Does the same coaching development principles apply to all levels of ability of players, from the non-elite to the elite?
It depends on what you have in mind. But first of all, for me, being a coach it's a universal job. Everywhere in the world we have coaches. For me, being a coach of a grassroots player of being a coach of an elite player, it's the same job. So the rules should be the same. The difference, the players are the same. The difference is the skills of the players and the time that you need to make them learn. With grassroots players, you need more time to make them learn. With the elite players, they learn quicker. The starting level is higher, but the main job of being a coach is 100% the same. Because that's why I asked the question about, give me 3 factors, 3 characteristics, 3 qualities of that will help you to be an effective coach, to be a good coach. Yeah, because what's the main quality of a coach? What's the most important quality of a coach? This is a fantastic question to start the discussion, and I'm really convinced about. It's not about the tactical elements, because on a certain level, let's take the elite game. On the elite game, all the coaches have the tactical knowledge. So when you're in that environment, we have the same tools. So what will make the difference? The difference will not be made by the tactical knowledge. The difference will be made by the emotional management, by the connection with players, by the relationship, by the way you are a coach for them. Yeah, players, they feel, even in the professional game, and that's why I showed the video of our national team. Let's take this as an example to continue that discussion. Why did I show that video? Did I share with you any tactical information? Not at all, because that tactical element doesn't make the difference. The difference is made on another level, especially when you're in the high pressure moments. Everybody is under full pressure. So if you push, they will never be able to manage that pressure, because you push the pressure higher. So you have to work on other things. You heard the coach talking about do it as a team. Do it as a team. That's also one of the reasons why I show you that clip. Does that mean that the team is important? Yes, but the team is important as a consequence of the involvement and the engagement of every single individual. If the individual players, they don't feel comfortable to engage, you will never get to the level of the team, because your team is built on individuals. If these individuals, if they cannot connect 100% and engage 100%, your team will not perform. So the team is the consequence of a perfect individual management. Yeah. If my emotional level is not okay, I will never get to performance. Never. Yeah. And I can give other examples. I discussed with Owen last Friday about, you all know Lukaku. Lukaku now is overperforming. A fantastic, world-class player. But he was in England and they weren't happy about him. Why not? Why is he now overperforming? With his Italian coach, Conte. Antonio Conte is like his father. He has 100% connection with Lukaku. Roberto Martinez has 100% connection with Lukaku. Lukaku feels very happy. Consequence, he's performing for the team. So it's all about the individuals. The individual's management is key for the team. If on the individual level it's not okay, your team will never be okay. So let's get back to the question about different levels of coaching. We have the same needs. On the grassroots level, there is the same needs for that. Yeah, how to build a team. That's team building. Making that, I compare it with the pieces of the puzzle. Every player is a piece of the puzzle. Making that all the pieces fit together. Yeah, and how can you make that they fit together? By giving them confidence, by creating that trust. How can you create that trust? By valuing every single individual. Yeah. In fact, it's very easy to understand, but it's hard to do. Why? Because of the ego of the coaches, because they think it's about me. No, 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 we are out of the game. We are not playing. It's not our game. We cannot decide the game because we don't play.
And that leads us on to the next question, Jim. So you talked about the value and the ego of the coach. So what were the main challenges of the philosophy filtering down to all developmental areas of the Belgian FA, from the FA to clubs, to coaches, players and their families? So how challenging and how difficult was that?
Yeah, in the beginning that was difficult, but what we did, we created an open door environment where we said, okay, the national youth teams, the environment, the games, we say to the coaches, come and see what we do. Also during the sessions, we invited them, we share with them the tactical principles. And by opening these doors, people can come and watch. Players go back to their club, they talk with the other players, they talk with their parents, they talk with the coaches about positive environments. Only positive approach. Only developing the game from having the ball and trying to win the game, trying to attack. Because why do players decide to play football? To have the ball. So developing our whole philosophy about attacking, dominating the game, even if we were not ready for full domination. But this is the idea. This is our ideal picture of the game. We want to have the ball. We want to play. We want to take risks. We want to play from the back and take the risk from the goalkeeper to play. If we lose the ball, they score a goal. Yeah, that's learning. That's how it is. Yeah. So that's how you create culture. By putting some values, say, this is the way we're going to do all together. Yeah. Why? For the good of the kids, for the good of the players. Yeah. Not for the ego of the coach. We want to develop players. And this is, we never push a club to say, this is the way you have to play. No, this is the way how we play with national team. This is the play how we develop players. And we want to make your players the best possible international player. Everybody is happy. So, because we have some in the south and in the north, like Anderlecht has its own approach. They play 3-4-3. Is it a problem? Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, because we don't talk about formations anymore. We talk about principles. Like, from example, playing from the back. Standard Liège, they have a more vertical play. Is that a problem? Not at all. They can keep their own identity, but we want to inspire the coaches about how can you build a player? How can you develop a player? How can you create trust in the environment? Yeah.
Just Kris, there's somebody here wants to put you forward as the Taoiseach, which is our Prime Minister, for your energy and for your enthusiasm. Thanks for imparting that. I suppose a lot of people are very interested in a lot of the questions that are coming up are around, I suppose, the competition. We will have we have a structured program, albeit that players playing in smaller numbers, but not to the same extent that you're doing in Belgium. So where from a playing and a training perspective in their clubs before they come together for these little tournaments, obviously there are still a lot of technical and deliberate practice that takes place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it already. Deliberate practice. It's about playing. Remember the cartoon, learning the game by playing the game. Mm-hmm. And of course, and that's also, like when I was young, I was fortunate to play street soccer. Yeah, street soccer, yeah, it's numbers. It depends. Sometimes we played 3 against 3, 7 against 7, 14 against 14. It was just playing, and trying things out. This is also what we have to do with your athletes, with your players. Not just trying to over control and over structure your training sessions, yeah, but also give them the freedom to play, yeah. And play can be 4v4, but sometimes it can be 11v11. But my experience is, and you just can count the number of touches of the ball when you play 11v11 for 20 minutes and you play 4v4 or 5v5 for 20 minutes, and you count the numbers that you had the ball, yeah, it will be very clear what is the most learning environment, the best learning environment. Yeah. So also there, try to find the best thing for this moment and for these players, because, and that's also linked with individualization. So there is no one size fits all approach. That doesn't exist. So what you have to do is, and you will recognize one of these slides. Who is in front of me? How are they? What do they need now? How can I serve them? How can I give them the things that they need? And these needs are different at different moments with different players. Yeah.
Kris, last question. Having the fact that you're involved in the UEFA's Euro panel comes back to kind of just what you said there now. Who's in front of you? What are they able to do? And what are they able to learn? How important and how much emphasis is put on coaching reflections in the vision for development for the Belgian FA?
Reflection.
Yeah, reflection on on their practice. How important is it?
But if I had more time, I can spend a full presentation about reflection on session and feedback. This was one of the slides I had. Efficiency. What about efficiency for your session? If you don't reflect on your session, you cannot know if your session was effective. If you don't ask feedback about your session, how will you go to the next level? How will you learn? Yeah. So and we had that meeting Thursday, yeah, or Wednesday it was, for the, even now for the next UEFA C course, so that means the lowest level, yeah, 60 hours of education. In that course, we will start showing the participants. So that means those who make their first steps in coaching, showing them that their own coaching logbook is the crucial tool for learning, and their coaching logbook will be very, very different from one to another, because they are all different individuals stepping into the coaching course with different background, with different experience. So that coaching logbook will be 100% reflection tool, where they have to reflect, and during the course they will learn how to do it, and then getting feedback from the coach educator, but especially learning from their own reflection, because this is what you have to do. And that's exactly why I've put the slide where I say coaches should start learning about their coaching. Yeah. If you don't reflect on it, you will not learn from your teaching, from your coaching. If you don't ask your players, how did you feel about the session? Was it enjoyable? Was it fun? Was it useful for the next game? Yeah. How can we improve it? What did you like? What didn't you like? Why not? What's the problem? How can I make it better? All these things, as a coach, you can only ask this if there is a 100% trust between the players and the coach. Because if that trust is not there, your players will never give you honest feedback. That's the basis. So I come back to the video that I shared with you with the players in the dressing room before the game. Congratulations for the job you did this week. Because what did we see? Oh, confidence, supporting each other. Fantastic. That's it. Do we talk about, oh, it's an important game? No, no, no. Just do like you did on the practice and it will work. Success is the consequence of the process. And the process starts with every individual. If the individuals feel comfortable, you have a chance to perform. If they don't feel comfortable, forget it. Forget it. Yeah.
Kris,
I have known you for a couple of years, and I know Jared's going to finish up, but we could have went on for easily another hour and stuff. So thank you very much, Kris.
Kris, I'd like to thank you, and I know that from my experience of listening to coaches from other sports, it's really enlightening to hear the honesty and the openness of your philosophy and what you've done in your context. And I think we could all learn a lot from that as coaches, because sometimes we put our hand over the book and don't allow others to see. And to be honest, I don't see the logic in that at all, because we're always learning. So we need to experience other sports. We need to experience other types of coaching environments, and it's hugely beneficial that we get this opportunity to link in with other coaches. So it's been fantastic this evening to have you. We would have preferred you to be in your company, and maybe we might arrange for that when we get to another opportunity to maybe meet with you face to face. You were in Ireland last January. We heard you at the coaching conference, so maybe at some other point, Kris, we'd like to get you back maybe in Dublin, where we can see these practices and can see you engaging with players. And I'm sure you'd love that opportunity to come and visit us as well. So thank you very much. I hope you and your family are safe and well. And I really thank you for giving your time this evening to all of us here on this webinar. So thank you very much.
It will be a pleasure to come back to Dublin to see you, and then we can show how easy it is to make connection with people, even if you're not if you're not Irish. Even if you're Belgian, you can make easily connection with all these guys in Dublin.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I just want to finish with one thing, like you said. There are two things for me. The fuel that keeps driving the engine is two things. And first, curiosity. As a coach, please be curious, because that's why small children, why they start learning, they are curious and they want to discover. That's also why I exchange and share with you, because Owen asked me the question about about reflection. If we don't share with somebody else from outside our community, we are always in the same mainstream of thinking. So we create new things, we share, we listen to the feedback, and we try to make it better. I had one former boss who said, "Kris, don't tell them too much." And I said, "Don't be afraid. The moment that they understand what we are doing, we are already on the next level." And that's also how it is. You share, you get feedback, and you take lessons from it. So okay.
Thank you very much. Everybody stay safe, and we'll speak soon.
Bye.
Thank you.